Yo, real talk, they've been feeding you some straight up BS about power. You think you gotta choose between being a doormat or a dictator? Nah, fam. The real players, they're running both programs at the same time. Let me put you on game. You're getting played by a fake choice, bro. Straight up gaslit into thinking you gotta pick a side. On one side, you got the Stoics. These dudes are all like, just take it, accept it, retreat into your mental fortress, and vibe out. On the other side, you got Niccolo Machiavelli whispering in your ear that this world's a straight-up slaughterhouse. And if you ain't holding the knife, homie, you're the meat on the cutting board. Most people spend their whole lives ping-ponging between these two energy types. You try to be the good guy, and boom, you get played like a fiddle. You try to be ruthless, and the guilt eats you alive from the inside out. You're bouncing between acting like a saint and acting like a tyrant, and you're trash at both. Can't win for losing. Here's the truth that neither side wants to admit, though. Stoicism without power? That's just dissociation, my guy. It's basically a sedative they give to the conquered so they don't riot. But Machiavellianism without internal control? That's self-destruction on steroids. It's a fire that torches the arsonist who lit it. I'm about to show you that these aren't opposing philosophies. They're two halves of one seriously dangerous weapon that's been used by the most powerful figures throughout history. By the end of this video, you're not going to choose between them. You're going to learn the synthesis, the psychological architecture that lets you operate with the ruthlessness of a prince while sleeping with the clear conscience of a sage. But first, we gotta tear down the myths you've been clutching onto like a security blanket. Let's look at the world as it actually is, not how we wish it was. If you walk into a boardroom, a political arena, or even some high-stakes negotiation carrying meditations by Marcus Aurelius like it's gonna save you, bro, you're bringing a shield to a gunfight. You're cooked. There's a reason Machiavelli gets dragged in public, but studied in private. The Prince wasn't written for the masses. It was basically a job application, a secret playbook on how to seize a state and hold it against enemies both inside and outside your circle. The central idea of Machiavelli gets dumbed down to the ends justify the means. That's way too simplistic. The actual lesson is this: morality is a luxury you can only afford when things are stable. When the walls are getting breached and chaos is knocking on your door, kindness isn't a virtue. It's a liability that'll get you murked. Machiavelli argues that a leader who tries to be good in a world full of bad dudes will inevitably get wrecked. This ain't cynicism, fam. This is physics. This is just how the game works. Peep the story of Cesare Borgia. Machiavelli didn't just make up theories in his head. He watched Borgia execute them in real time, like some sick case study. Borgia had conquered the region of Romagna, but the place was lawless as hell. Robbery, feuds, chaos everywhere. The joint was basically ungovernable. If Borgia had rolled in there with stoic patience, trying to lead by virtuous example and good vibes, he would have been laughed at, then straight up assassinated. Instead, homie appointed this dude named Ramiro de Orco, a cruel, efficient, ruthless cat. Borgia gave him absolute power to clean up the streets. No questions asked. Ramiro did exactly that. He tortured people. He executed folks left and right. He terrified the whole population into submission. He established order through straight-up bloodshed. Mission accomplished. The region was safe. But now, the people hated Ramiro's guts. And by extension, they were starting to hate Borgia too. A Stoic would be like, how do I bear this hatred? How do I stay virtuous while everyone's mad at me? A Machiavellian asks a completely different question. How do I use this hatred? One morning, the people of Cesena woke up to an absolute spectacle in the town square. There was Ramiro de Orco, or rather, two halves of him. Borgia had him cut clean in two and placed on a block of wood with a bloody knife beside the body. The message was instant and surgical, bro. Borgia took credit for the order, the safety, the peace, but he pinned all the cruelty on Ramiro. He signaled to the people, "I'm not the monster. He was, and I just saved you from him." Machiavelli wrote that the people were at once satisfied and stupefied. That's the cold, hard reality of power. It requires a scapegoat. It requires theatrical violence. If you're strictly a Stoic, you look at this and you're like, nah, that's abhorrent. I'm out. I would never. And that's exactly why you stay an employee. That's why you're the one getting governed, not the governor. But hold up, there's a trap here. A fatal error that all these edgy internet Machiavellians fall into. They think being Ramiro de Orco is the goal. They think cruelty is power. It's not. Ramiro was a tool. He was reactive. He was emotional in his violence. And because he lacked that internal fortress, he became disposable. The true player wasn't the man holding the knife, and it wasn't the man on the chopping block. It was the man watching from the balcony, Borgia. But here's the question that'll mess you up. How does a human being execute a man he employed, cut him in half, and then go eat breakfast like nothing happened? How does the mind survive its own ambition without completely fracturing? This is where the cracks in Machiavelli start to show. And this is where the dark necessity of Stoicism begins to bleed in. Let's flip the lens. Stoicism, in its modern, watered-down, commodified form, gets marketed as a life hack for productivity. Cold showers and journaling. Amor fati, whatever. It's been turned into a stress ball for the working class. Accept what you cannot control. This is dangerous advice if you misunderstand the perimeter of control. For the average person, Stoicism becomes a coping mechanism for powerlessness. Your boss berates you? It is what it is? The economy crashes and destroys your savings? The obstacle is the way. Used this way, Stoicism is just operant conditioning for submission. It creates good workers, not great men. But the ancient Stoics, they were not submissive. Seneca was the tutor and advisor to Emperor Nero. Dude was one of the richest men in the entire Roman Empire. He wrote these beautiful letters about the unimportance of wealth while lending money at usurious interest rates across the British provinces. Critics called him a hypocrite. I call him a realist. Seneca understood that philosophy is the anchor that keeps the ship from capsizing in a storm. But the ship still needs sails. The money, the power, the influence. Those were the sails. Stoicism was just the ballast keeping everything steady. But check out what happens when the external pressure exceeds the internal structure. Nero eventually turned on Seneca. The tyrant he helped mold became uncontrollable. When the order came for Seneca to commit suicide, he didn't run, he didn't beg, he didn't try some Machiavellian plot to assassinate Nero first. He opened his veins. He dictated his final philosophical thoughts as the blood literally drained out of him. He remained calm. He died well, but he still died. And here lies the central conflict of what we're exploring here. Machiavellianism focuses entirely on the external, the outcome, the perception, the power. Stoicism focuses entirely on the internal, the reaction, the peace. If you follow Machiavelli 100%, you become paranoid. You see enemies everywhere. You interpret every handshake as a potential dagger in your back. The cortisol levels alone will kill you before any assassins do. you lose your soul to save your skin. If you follow Stoicism 100%, you become inert. You accept injustice because you've convinced yourself that harm is only an opinion. You become a bystander in your own life, watching the world burn while you congratulate yourself on your temperature tolerance. You save your soul, but you lose the war. History books are filled with dead Stoics and deposed Machiavellians. But there's a third category, the outliers, the ones who saw these systems not as religions, but as software. They realized you can run both programs simultaneously, provided you know which one has admin privileges. Let's talk about Marcus Aurelius, the poster boy of Stoicism, the philosopher king. You read Meditations, and you hear this gentle, tired dude trying to be good. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. Sounds like he's talking about annoying neighbors, right? He wasn't. He was talking about the Roman Senate. He was talking about Germanic warlords trying to sever the heads of his legions. He was talking about his own brother, Lucius Verus, who was a drunkard and a straight-up liability. Marcus Aurelius was the absolute ruler of a known world. He didn't sit in some garden writing poetry all day. He spent the majority of his reign in a tent on the mud-soaked frontiers of the empire, commanding the most violent military machine in human history. He ordered the slaughter of thousands. He suppressed rebellions. He played the game of power like a chess grandmaster. Here's the secret that'll blow your mind. Meditations wasn't a book of philosophy. It was a containment field. Marcus Aurelius was a Machiavellian operator by day and a Stoic by night. He understood a profound psychological truth. To execute the harshness required to rule, you must possess an impenetrable inner calm. If you're emotional, you cannot be ruthless. You just become cruel. There's a difference, bro. Cruelty is emotional. It comes from anger, insecurity, sadism, all that toxic energy. Ruthlessness is clinical. It comes from necessity, calculation, logic. Ramiro de Orco was cruel. Cesare Borgia was ruthless. Big difference. Marcus Aurelius used Stoicism to scrub the emotion out of his decision-making. When he had to crush an enemy, he didn't do it because he hated them. He did it because it was the nature of the world. He depersonalized the violence. This is the dark utility of Stoicism that all those modern self-help gurus won't tell you. It doesn't just help you endure pain. It helps you inflict it without losing your mind. It allows you to fire the incompetent employee without feeling guilt. It allows you to cut off the toxic family member without hesitation. It allows you to negotiate for that higher salary without feeling greedy, because you've removed the emotional judgment from the action. You've accepted that this is simply how the game is played. This is the synthesis, the Stoic prince, the person who navigates the external world with Machiavellian strategy, but governs their internal world with Stoic discipline. You use Machiavelli to read the room, to understand the power dynamics, to see the traps. You use Stoicism to keep your pulse slow when you spring the trap. Let's go deeper into the mechanics. How do you actually apply this? We need to talk about reputation. Machiavelli famously asked, "Is it better to be loved or feared?" His answer, "It's best to be both, but if you gotta choose, it's safer to be feared." Why? Because love is held by a chain of obligation, which men, being selfish, will break whenever it serves their purpose. But fear is maintained by a dread of punishment, which never fails. A pure Stoic doesn't care about reputation. What others think of me is none of my business. This is catastrophic advice for the real world, fam. In a hierarchy, What people think of you is your business. It determines your access to resources, your mating prospects, your safety. If you ignore reputation, you're invisible. But here's the nuance. If you're addicted to the validation of others, the trap of the narcissist, you're easily manipulated. Anyone who flatters you owns you. Anyone who insults you controls you. The synthesis approach is this. You cultivate a reputation carefully, Machiavelli, but you detach your self-worth from it, Stoicism. You curate the mask. You decide what the public sees. You project competence, maybe a touch of danger. You let them fear you slightly. You let them love you when it's useful. But behind the mask, silence. You don't believe your own press release. When they cheer, you're indifferent. When they boo, you're indifferent. This makes you unshakable. Most people fail because their mask is glued to their face. When the mask cracks, their ego shatters. The synthesis allows you to treat your public persona as an asset, like a stock portfolio or a piece of real estate. You manage it, you optimize it, but you are not it. This is how you survive the modern digital panopticon. We live in an age of hypervisibility. Everything's recorded. One mistake, one wrong tweet, and the mob comes for you. The purely Machiavellian approach is to be a shapeshifter, constantly changing your opinions to please the crowd. You become hollow. The purely Stoic approach is to ignore the mob and get canceled, fired, and ostracized. The synthesis? You observe the mob. You understand its triggers. You speak its language. You maneuver through the chaos without becoming part of it. You're in the crowd, but not of it. You view the social hierarchy as a biological system. It has rules. It has predators. It has prey. You don't get angry at the shark for being a shark, but you also don't jump in the water bleeding. Now, a warning. There's a concept in dark psychology called virtue signaling. We all know it, but let's look at the weaponized version. Virtue camouflage. Machiavelli wrote, "It is not necessary for a prince to have all the virtues, but it is very necessary to appear to have them." He lists them: mercy, faith, integrity, humanity, religion. He says you must seem to be all these things, but you must be ready to be the opposite when the wind turns. This creates cognitive dissonance for most people. We're raised to believe that hypocrisy is the ultimate sin. But look at the most effective leaders in your company, in your government. They speak of community, family, transparency. But when the quarterly earnings are threatened, they execute layoffs with mathematical precision. Are they evil or are they effective? The Stoic in you wants to judge them. The Stoic in you wants to say, "I'm better than them because I'm honest." But are you? Or are you just harmless? There's a quote, often misattributed, but the sentiment is pure dark truth. I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Stoicism is the garden. Machiavellianism is the sword. You need the garden to have a place to rest, to have something worth fighting for, to keep your humanity intact. But without the sword, the garden is just a waiting room for someone else's conquest. The problem with modern nice guys is they think their lack of claws is a virtue. It isn't. It's just a lack of claws. If you cannot do harm, your decision to be good is not a moral choice. It's a biological default. You must be capable of the Machiavellian maneuver. You must understand how to manipulate, how to deceive, how to crush. And then you must use your Stoic discipline to choose not to, until it's absolutely necessary. That's the definition of dangerous. That's the definition of powerful. We got the theory, now let's build the framework. To operate as a Stoic prince, you got to internalize 3 specific laws. These aren't moral commandments, they're mechanics. They're the gears that allow you to grind through resistance without wearing down your own engine. Law 1. The law of asymmetry. Machiavelli teaches, everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Stoicism teaches, retreat into your own little territory of silence. Combine them. In every interaction, there's an information economy. The person who speaks the most pays the most. The person who reveals their emotions is bleeding currency. Most people are desperate to be understood. They over-explain. They broadcast their intentions. They get angry to show they're serious. They cry to show they're hurt. They're open books in a room full of illiterates and thieves. The synthesis demands asymmetry. You must know everything about them. Their insecurities, their ambitions, their fears. They must know nothing about you except what you carefully select for them to see. When you're angry, your face should be blank. When you're excited, your voice should be steady. When you're terrified, your posture should be relaxed. This isn't repression. Repression is hiding it from yourself. This is containment. You feel the emotion, Stoic, but you deny the world the satisfaction of seeing it, Machiavelli. When your opponent can't read you, they project their own fears onto you. You become a mirror, and people are terrified of mirrors. Law 2, the premeditation of treachery. The Stoics have a practice called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. You visualize everything going wrong, so that when it happens, you're not shocked. Machiavelli would take this a step further. Don't just visualize bad luck. Visualize betrayal. Assume your business partner will steal from you. Assume your best friend will envy your success. Assume the alliance will break. This sounds paranoid? It isn't. It's the only way to love people safely. If you expect loyalty as a default, you'll be destroyed when it's absent. You'll become bitter. You'll hate humanity. But if you expect self-interest, you're never disappointed. You're only prepared. When the betrayal comes, you don't gasp. You don't scream, "How could you?" You nod. You say, "I saw this coming at mile marker 6. And because you saw it coming, you've already built the contingency. You have the leverage ready. You have the exit strategy. You handle the betrayal with the clinical detachment of a surgeon, removing a tumor. No drama, just incision. Law 3, aggressive amor fati. Nietzsche, a student of both schools, coined amor fati, love of fate. The Stoic accepts the fire. The Machiavellian uses the fire. When disaster strikes, you lose the job, the relationship ends, the market crashes. The synthesis doesn't just say, "I accept this." It says, "I can use this." This is the ultimate alchemy. Your reputation's ruined? Good. Now you're free from the expectations of others. You can operate in the shadows. You got fired? Good. You were stagnating anyway. Now you have the desperation required to build the empire. You don't just endure the chaos. You metabolize it. You turn the energy of the attack into fuel for your counterattack. Let's move from the abstract to the concrete. The boardroom, the social circle, the relationship. The modern world is soft, but the underlying dynamics are still primal. We just swapped swords for lawsuits and poison for HR complaints. Scenario A, the corporate sabotage. You're in a high-performance environment. You got a colleague? Let's call him Elias. Elias smiles at you. He goes to lunch with you, but in meetings, he subtly undermines your points. He accidentally leaves you off email chains. He frames your ideas as his own. The average person gets emotional. They confront Elias. Why are you doing this? Elias denies it. He gaslights. You're imagining things, friend. Now you look crazy. You look emotional. You lose status. The Stoic ignores Elias. He acts according to his nature. I'll just do my work well. Result? Elias continues to steal credit. You do the work, he gets the promotion. You maintain your virtue, but you lose your livelihood. The Machiavellian spreads rumors about Elias. He hacks his computer. He plays dirty. Result? Maybe you win. Maybe you get caught and fired. High risk. The synthesis, the outlier plays it differently. Stoic phase, you feel the anger rising. You acknowledge it. You realize Elias isn't a villain. He's a competitor. It's not personal. It's just resource acquisition. You remove your ego from the equation. Machiavellian phase, you engage the law of asymmetry. You become friendlier to Elias. You draw him closer. You praise him in public. Why? Because when you praise someone, you lower their guard. You make them think they've fooled you. The trap. You wait. You document. You let him steal a trap idea. An idea you know will fail. Or you wait for him to overextend. The strike. When he makes his move, you don't attack him. You simply step aside and let the weight of his own incompetence crush him. And because you praised him, no one suspects you. You killed him with kindness. You remain the good guy in the eyes of the tribe, social proof intact, while ruthlessly eliminating the threat. Power. Scenario B. The power dynamic in relationships. This is uncomfortable, but we gotta go there. In every relationship, there's a balance of power. The person who needs the other least holds the power. The purely Machiavellian approach is toxic. It involves dread game, manipulation, intentional jealousy. It destroys trust. The purely Stoic approach is often too detached. It can feel cold, unloving, indifferent. The synthesis is sovereignty. You love fully. You give. You're present. But you maintain a fortress of the self that no one can enter. You don't make the other person your God. You don't make them the source of your happiness. You apply the Stoic principle of autarkeia, self-sufficiency. This makes you incredibly attractive. Neediness is repulsive. Sovereignty is magnetic. By not trying to control them, Stoic, but having complete control over yourself, Machiavelli, you inadvertently gain the upper hand. They chase you because you're the mountain, immovable, solid, grounded. You're not playing games. You're simply not dependent. That's the most dangerous form of power. The power of not needing anything. Now we reach the difficult part. The part most channels skip. If you adopt this path, if you marry the fox and the lion to the sage, you will change. You'll lose the ability to relate to the masses. You'll walk into a room and you won't see people having a party. You'll see hierarchies. You'll see insecurity masking as confidence. You'll see the puppet strings. It can be incredibly lonely. It's the loneliness of the adult at the children's table. You'll see your friends complaining about problems they created, and you'll know exactly how to solve them. But you'll also know they don't want solutions. They want pity. You'll see politicians and recognize the script they're reading from. The Prince, chapter 18. The danger here is nihilism. When you see the machinery behind the curtain, the magic show loses its wonder. You might ask, why bother? If it's all just power games and biological imperatives, what's the point? This is where Stoicism must save you from Machiavellianism. Machiavelli teaches you how to play the game. Stoicism teaches you why to play. You play not just to win. Winning is temporary. The empire will fall. The money will rot. The reputation will fade. You play because participation is the tribute we pay to existence. Marcus Aurelius didn't want to be emperor. He wanted to be a philosopher. But fate put him on the throne. He could have run. He could have been a tyrant. Instead, he played the hand he was dealt with absolute excellence. He accepted the burden, Stoic, and executed the duty, Machiavellian. You follow this path not to become a monster, but to become a guardian. Because the world is full of monsters, real ones. People who use these dark tactics with zero conscience. People who will hurt the innocent, the weak, the naive. If good men are too weak to hold the sword, the wicked will rule by default. This is the ultimate justification for the synthesis. You learn the dark arts not to practice evil, but to recognize it, to intercept it, and to destroy it. You become the monster, so you can kill the monsters. So which one should you follow? The question's flawed. It assumes you're one thing. You're not a noun. You're a verb. You're a process. You're a fluid capacity for violence and a rigid capacity for peace. If you leave this video and choose only Stoicism, you'll be a saint in a cell. If you choose only Machiavelli, you'll be a king in a cage of your own paranoia. The outlier chooses neither and both. The outlier builds the internal citadel, impregnable, calm, rational, and from the gates of that citadel, he sends out the armies of strategy, deception, and force to reshape the world. You must be cold enough to see the truth. You must be hard enough to endure the blow. And you must be smart enough to strike back. This isn't a path for the lazy. It requires constant vigilance. It requires you to watch your own mind as closely as you watch your enemies. But the reward? The reward is true agency. For the first time in your life, you're not reacting to the world. The world is reacting to you. But there's a final danger. One I haven't mentioned yet. Once you achieve this level of control, once you can manipulate outcomes and regulate your own emotions, you'll face a temptation that's destroyed greater men than you. It's not failure, it's hubris. When you start to believe you're the god you're imitating, how do you prevent the power from corrupting the vessel? How do you maintain the warrior in the garden without burning down the garden? There's a final secret technique, the shadow integration. But that's a conversation for the initiates. If this opened your eyes, understand this is only what I can show publicly. There are videos I can't upload for everyone. There are aspects of dark psychology I simply can't discuss publicly on YouTube without getting censored or demonetized. The algorithm suppresses the most powerful information. Those exist behind the join button. If you're still here, you're not like the others. Subscribe if you haven't. But if you want what's hidden, click that join button and step into the architect level. You'll unlock exclusive, uncensored videos that dive into the deepest parts of the human psyche. Most won't. That's the point.